friends, it's Gwen and I am back today with another scrapbooking process video. Today's share is episode 14 in my Maggie Holmes Monday series, and today I'll be using the Sunny Days collection. I've done a couple of videos using this collection and I do love it, so it's been fun to pull it out again for this page. First up though, I did want to quickly show you my stitching. I have created a quite a bright purple background for this layout, and the pattern paper there is one that has a bunch of butterflies printed on it, and you'll see in a moment I will show you the background for that pattern paper, and you'll see how I've gutted out the center to get some of the butterflies to use as embellishments. So yeah, all my stitching is now done. I've done just a straight stitch around the outer edge and then stitched again on my photo around the outer edge, and yep, that's the butterflies that have come from the center of that pattern paper. Now here's a look at the cut file that I'll be using for my page. This one is called Ribbon and Roses, and I will leave a link to it below. It's from Cut to You, and I am going to go ahead and back it, but I'm just going to be backing the ribbon part for this design. I thought it might be fun to do something a little bit different and leave the roses part open. So I did want to leave this footage in for you though. I do get asked quite a bit about how I go about backing cut files, and I know it's sped up really fast, but it will give you a super quick idea of how I do that. I will leave a link to one of my previous videos where I go into more depth on how I back cut files. I'll leave that in a card here. Yeah, so just really quickly backing just the ribbon part for this design, and it was super fast actually. It was nice, simple, straight line, so it didn't take very long. And you will have noticed that I'm going to use quite that quite bright purple pattern paper as my background for this layout. And I'm really loving how this white cut file pops off of that bright colored background. So I thought, you know what? I don't need to back these roses. I can leave them open, and yeah, and it'll give me a bit of a different look. If you're new to using cut files on your layouts, this could be a really good way to get ones that are maybe a bit more intricate, but then not have to back all of the design. You know, just choose some large areas within the design and just back those. Okay, so back to the layout, and I am going to have a little dive into the supplies that I have. I had mentioned in a previous video, I have a lot of this collection. I don't know what, I must have had these big dreams to scrapbook all of these summer layouts and then never did. And yeah, it was only when I went through my Maggie stash, like right at the beginning of this series, that I realized just how much of this particular collection I had. So I did go through and just eliminate some things. I have talked about this a little bit in my videos, that I find it hard to make choices. So a really good way for me to get layouts done more quickly and easily is to actually eliminate choices. So I will quite often do a really quick sweep through all of my embellishments and eliminate anything that I know 100% won't work, and then just keep what I think might work. And it limits my choices, but it also limits that overwhelming feeling that I get when I've got lots to choose from and I want to audition all the things on a page. So yeah, it really just helps me with that. Yeah, so I am going to go with the title Summertime. For now though, I think it's vacay vibes, but I do switch that out in a moment. I do use this cut apart. It was a 3x4 card, I believe. It was probably intended that way, but I really liked the sentiment that it says. So it says falling in love with this place, and I felt like it really suited my photo, but I didn't like that orange background that it had. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to chop out the elements and I will use those on my page. So it's this point in the layout that I'm really just nutting out a basic design. So I knew my cut file was going to be centered, and I knew I wanted the photo there on the right, and then thought, well, you know what, I wouldn't mind putting my title there along the banner piece, so on the left, and then we'll fill out the spaces, and I'll get thinking about how the eye is going to flow around the page sort of as I build it. And yeah, nothing is stuck down. I'm really just auditioning things and kind of getting a feel for where I want everything to go, and I want to be able to see how I'm scooching that sort of over a little bit, and I'm chopping and changing my mind. I want to be sure before I stick down anything, I want to be sure that the bones of the layout are exactly where I want them to be, especially these large pieces, like especially my photo and my title, and these large elements, they need to be, you know, in the right spot to begin with before I start building out all of my other embellishments. So while I'm fussing with all of that, a quick story about my photo. This one was taken on Fraser Island in Queensland, Australia. And Fraser Island is an island, and it's actually a place where you can only go if you have access to a four-wheel drive. It's quite remote. There are shops, like little corner shops, and some people do live on the island, but most of the shops, and there is a resort too actually, but that's down the lower end of the island, and we were right up the top, as far north as you could go actually. A lot of people camp there. There's a lot of camping. You can take your caravan too, but we actually rented out a house with another family, a friend of ours, so we spent the week exploring and four-wheel driving and just really having a lovely time over the school holidays. And I couldn't help but take this photo because that's my daughter Caitlin, and see how she's got no shoes on? She's a kid that would never just, and same with me, would never just be like walking around barefoot. So it was actually really nice to get this really like casual, candid shot of her just enjoying the view, walking along the boardwalk there with her, you know, her daggy shortened shirt and then like no shoes on. I just love it. It gives you a real sense of the way that you feel when you're on holidays at Fraser Island. It's very casual, it's very laid back, the pace is really slow, and it's just lovely. I just love it there. So I'm really enjoying getting this photo scrapbooked. Now back to the layout, and yep, the bones are definitely coming together. Things are getting locked in. My photo and the title and that little die cut piece with the list of beach elements on it, they're all going to be locked in there. I did also lock in the pelican. It's funny because when I saw this collection and I was looking through those elements within it, I did have a moment where I was like, where am I going to put a pelican on my page? Like, when am I ever going to be, you know, I need a pelican for my page. However, because of the context of the photo, and it's definitely like a beach life kind of layout, and I'm going to talk about that in my journaling, I thought, this is the page. I'm going to put my pelican on this page. And he's facing the right way. He, she, I think it's a he. He's facing the right way. If I have an element that's like this, I quite often like them looking in towards the center of the page. I do it with photos as well. So because he just sort of sat there really nicely nestled on top of the word summer, and he was facing towards the photo, I was like, you know what? He's the perfect element for this layout. So yeah, he makes it. And I do trim up these little, the die cut sentiment that I fussy cut out there. The ends were a little long and they were covering up too much of the cut file details. So I just shortened them there. And I do pop them up on foam tape and just sort of position them sort of alternating, just so that they're not like, you'll notice that there's not a perfect line, they're not perfectly lined up. So I am kind of zigzagging them on purpose just for interest, and I didn't want it to look too blocky. So because I have the photo there that's obviously blocky, square, and then I have that other die cut to the left, and then my title, they're all rectangular and square elements, and they're all sitting on top of this very flowy and soft and curved cut file. I needed to make sure that I didn't make it, you know, didn't add any more other elements that were going to be blocky, that were going to yeah, like just look too heavy, I guess is the right word, too heavy on top of that cut file design. So I am going to pop you on super fast here just for a moment while I stick these words down. I love that this is just sort of some supporting text. It just helps me tell my story, and it's a lovely little element that I can add to the page. So I'm so glad I fussy cut those out and got them off of that orangey pinky background, because that would never have worked for this layout. And this is the part where I'm really just trying to build out those embellishment clusters. I'm mixing and matching elements. I'm thinking about the way things nestle together and sit together on the page. And I'm also thinking about how the page is balanced and how elements on the left of my photo are balanced out with the elements on the bottom right underneath my photo. So I do want to have it feel balanced. I don't want it to be really embellishment heavy on one side or in one area. I want the embellishments to be sort of somewhat equal, and yeah, for them to help draw the eye around the page. I am loving how this is all looking, so I am going to start to glue some elements down, including the cute little pelican there. The butterflies stay. I like that they kind of balance each other out, with the one being at the top left and then the bottom right, and it kind of counteracts the photo on the right and the pelican on the left there. It kind of sort of balances everything out. I do add this one down the bottom here too. So yeah, they were just fussy cut from that same pattern paper that you see on the layout edge there. And I'm just going to work on adding a few more smaller elements. Oh yeah, I fussed with these leaves for the longest time. They're puffy sticker leaves, and they don't make it. I don't know why it takes me so long to realize. Sometimes I watch the video back and I'm like, oh Gwen, that's not going to work. Why do you fuss with these things for so long before you realize? But anyway, that's me, that's my process. Yeah, so they don't make it, but this one does. It says vacation, so the title kind of ends up being Summertime Vacation. And I do add some foam to the butterflies just to lift them off the page and away from the cut file. I do like layers. I like to mention on my pages, not too much, but yeah, a little bit. That bow's quite high as well, so they're still not as high as that bow, so the page is quite flat at this point. Oh yes, and I did mean to ask you, is there a Maggie collection that you would like to see me use in this series that I haven't already? If I have it, I'm happy to use it. So leave me a comment below if there's a particular collection that you maybe have in your stash and you'd like to see me work with that collection. I'd love to hear about it. Things are getting serious. I'm going to glue some stuff down. Yeah, using the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive for this one, especially that bow. It's a stronger glue, so I prefer to use it for elements like that, as well as these two cute little chipboard pieces. That heart there that's closest to Caitlin is actually a puffy sticker, and I find that the Nouveau Deluxe is really good for puffy stickers. And yeah, just going to tack the rest of the cut file down as well, and yeah, just add a liquid adhesive behind most of the elements. Yeah, and that's going to finish up the layout. I will leave you with close-up images here in a moment. Now, if you like the way that I scrapbook, or the way that I chat about the way that I scrapbook, please give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. This is episode 14 in my Maggie Holmes Monday series, and I am still planning on doing even more Maggie videos. So if you're new, also I'd love it if you would subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, my creative friends, and I will see you all next time. Bye!